When I found the check on the table that morning, the ink was still wet. It said, "For everything I've done, $25,000. Love, Mark." At first, I thought it was a joke, or maybe a peace offering, the kind of grand gesture husbands make when they realize they've broken something beyond repair. But the way the pen had pressed too hard on the paper, the way my name was written, shaky, uncertain, it felt more like guilt than love. Still, I told myself to breathe, to hope, because after everything, I wanted to believe that he was trying.
Our home used to smell like coffee and cinnamon in the mornings. Now, it smelled like burnt toast and silence. Mark would come downstairs, half-dressed, scrolling through his phone before even looking at me. We'd once talked about everything, from grocery lists to dreams about retiring near the sea. But lately, his words had shrunk to small, functional phrases. "Did you pay the electric bill? Don't forget Ella's parent-teacher meeting. Where's my blue tie?" It's strange how betrayal doesn't always start with shouting. Sometimes it starts with quiet, with the little spaces where words used to live. Before all this, we had been married for 12 years. We met at university. He was the boy who lent me his umbrella on a day when the sky looked like it wanted to swallow the whole city. I was the girl who believed kindness was a promise. We built our life carefully. A daughter, Ella, born after 3 years of trying, a small house with ivy creeping up one side. I worked part-time at the library. Mark managed a logistics firm. We weren't perfect, but we were steady. Until last winter. It began with overtime, then business trips, then messages he didn't explain. I remember the first time my stomach twisted with suspicion. He had left his phone on the counter while he showered. It buzzed twice, once, then again, longer. The name on the screen was saved as Aaron, but there was a heart emoji beside it. I didn't open it. I told myself, trust him. Maybe it was an inside joke or a colleague. Maybe it was nothing. But that maybe began to live in me. It followed me while I folded laundry, cooked dinner, tucked Ella into bed. It whispered that something had changed, not loudly enough to accuse, just enough to unsettle. Then one night, while washing dishes, I heard him laughing softly in the hallway. It wasn't the laugh he gave our daughter. It was softer, careful, intimate. When I walked in, he quickly ended the call. His smile vanished like someone turning off a light. "Who was that?" I asked, keeping my tone light. "Work thing, late shipment." His phone vibrated again. The same name. Aaron. He silenced it. Weeks passed. We coexisted like actors stuck in the play we didn't want to perform anymore. Then one evening, after Ella's school recital, he came home smelling of a perfume I didn't own. The kind that clings, sweet, floral, defiant. I remember standing at the sink, staring at the soap bubbles fading down the drain. The ache inside me wasn't anger, not yet. It was confusion, a desperate kind of denial. He noticed me staring. "What?" he said, half laughing. "Nothing," I replied. But that nothing had weight. He sighed. "You're imagining things again, Sarah. I'm tired. Can we not do this tonight?" And maybe he was right. Maybe I was imagining things. Because when you love someone for so long, the idea that they could look you in the eye and lie, it feels impossible. Then came the confession. It was a Sunday morning, rain tapping on the window, the smell of pancakes in the air. He looked tired, pale, like someone rehearsing an apology. "I need to tell you something." he said quietly. The words hit me before their meaning did. He told me about her, a woman from work, younger. It just happened, he said. I remember every sound in that moment. The dripping faucet, the creak of Ella's bedroom door upstairs, the sound of my own breathing trying to stay calm. I didn't cry. Not then. I just felt hollow. He kept talking, how he ended it, how it meant nothing, how he wanted to make things right. I nodded slowly. You ended it. He looked down. Yes, it was stupid, Sarah. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. I'll prove it to you. And then the check, a day later, placed on the table like an offering. That night, I sat at the dining table long after everyone had gone to bed. The check gleamed under the dim kitchen light next to his half-empty glass of wine. $25,000. He had written it from our joint account, the same account we'd built with shared paychecks and small savings, with every meal skipped and every plan delayed. A price tag for guilt. Part of me wanted to rip it up. Another part wanted to believe maybe this was his way of starting over, of making amends. When he came down, he looked carefully at me. It's for you, he said. For us. For everything I've done. His voice cracked on everything. I wanted to believe him so badly that I nodded. All right, I said. Let's try again. He looked relieved, almost too relieved. He reached for my hand and whispered, "You won't regret this." But somewhere deep inside, a small voice whispered, "You already do." That night, I couldn't sleep. The house felt too quiet. I went downstairs, turned on the lamp, and opened my laptop. Something about that check bothered me. The way he'd written it from the joint account. I logged into our online banking, and that's when I saw it. A transaction, dated 2 days before his apology. A $25,000 wire transfer to a travel agency. The memo line read, "Maldives package confirmed." The recipient name wasn't Aaron. It was Lydia, the woman he'd sworn was gone. I stared at the screen, my hands trembling. The check wasn't a gift. It was a cover-up. He hadn't given me $25,000. He'd already spent it on her for a trip they were supposed to take together. My breath caught somewhere between disbelief and fury. The kind of fury that doesn't burn hot. It burns cold, quiet, sharp, precise. And in that quiet, I knew what I had to do. I sat there for hours, staring at the bank screen until the numbers blurred into tears. He was sleeping upstairs, probably dreaming about a fresh start, while the proof of his deceit glowed right in front of me. For 12 years, I had carried him through every storm, the layoffs, the debt, the months when we barely managed rent. And now this? A check to soothe his guilt, while the same money was already lying in some travel agent's register, booking a honeymoon for his sin. When the clock struck 2, I wiped my eyes and shut the laptop. I wasn't ready to confront him. Not yet. The thing about betrayal is, it demands precision, and I wanted to be sure. The next morning, Mark was already dressed when I came downstairs. He had made coffee, something he rarely did. His voice was almost chipper, like a man relieved of a burden. "Morning, love," he said, avoiding my eyes as he handed me a mug. I took it silently. The smell of roasted beans filled the room, but to me, it smelled like lies. He sat down opposite me. "I was thinking," he began carefully, "maybe we could take a small trip. Just us, to reset." I looked up at him, keeping my face still. "A trip?" He nodded nervously. "Yeah, I'll handle everything. You don't have to worry. We deserve it." I stared at him for a long moment. "You said you wanted to start fresh. I just wonder how long you've been planning that." His eyes darted away. "Sarah, if this is about the past..." I cut him off. "No, Mark, this is about the present." There was a beat of silence so heavy I could hear the refrigerator hum. Then I smiled, softly, almost kindly. "You said we deserve a trip, right? I'll think about it." He nodded, relieved, mistaking calm for forgiveness. But inside, I was already planning. That day, I called my friend Julia. She'd worked in finance long before she became a stay-at-home mom, and she knew her way around tracing digital payments. I told her everything: the affair, the check, the Maldives booking. "Oh my God, Sarah," she whispered. "You sure you're okay?" "I'm not," I admitted. "But I need proof before I act. Can you help me find out if the tickets are still active?" She didn't hesitate. "Send me the details." By evening, she called back. Her voice was tight. "The booking's confirmed for 2 passengers, Mark Lewis and Lydia Parker. Departure next month." I felt something inside me freeze. He hadn't even canceled it. "Can you print that confirmation?" I asked quietly. "Already did," she said. "I'll drop it off tomorrow." That night, I watched him play with Ella, our daughter's laughter echoing through the house. He was gentle, patient, like the man I used to love, and I hated that I could still see goodness in him. That's what betrayal does. It confuses love with habit. When Ella went to bed, he came over, wrapping his arms around me. "You've been quiet lately," he murmured. "Are we okay?" I forced a small smile. "We will be." It wasn't a lie, just not in the way he thought. 2 weeks passed. I played my part perfectly. The forgiving wife, the woman who was ready to heal. He seemed lighter, happier, even began packing away old memories of that other woman, or pretending to. Meanwhile, Julia helped me collect everything: transaction receipts, booking confirmations, emails from the agency. Every line of evidence that proved his apology was a performance. But revenge wasn't what I wanted. I wanted clarity. I wanted him to see what he'd done to our marriage, to our home, to our daughter's trust. Then, one morning, an idea came to me. It was subtle, clean, dignified. I called the same travel agency and asked to make a small adjustment to the Maldives package under Mark Lewis's name. The agent, polite and efficient, asked for verification, which I had from our joint email. "I'd like to transfer the secondary ticket holder," I said sweetly. "Of course, ma'am. May I know the name of the new passenger?" "Yes," I said. "Ella Lewis. She's 7. There was a pause on the line. "Ma'am, this is a couples resort." "Oh, don't worry," I replied calmly. "It's going to be a surprise for her father. She'll love it." I hung up before the woman could argue. Then I printed the updated booking details. 2 tickets. Mark Lewis and Ella Lewis. A father-daughter trip. Exactly the kind of reset he deserved. That evening, I placed the printed itinerary inside a gift box, wrapped it with gold ribbon, and set it on the dining table. When he came home, he noticed it instantly. "What's this?" I smiled. "A surprise. You've been working so hard, I thought you deserved that trip, but not alone." He frowned, untying the ribbon. As he read the passenger names, his face drained of color. "Sarah, what is this?" "Your trip," I said softly. "You said you'd take me somewhere to start fresh. I thought maybe you should take Ella instead. She misses you. Maybe the two of you can bond while I figure out if I still recognize the man I married." He stared at me, eyes wide. "You don't understand." "Oh, I understand perfectly," I interrupted. My voice was calm, even kind. "I understand you planned to spend our savings on a trip with the woman you cheated on me with. I understand that you lied not once, but over and over. And I understand that you thought a check could erase that." He opened his mouth, then closed it again. I could almost see the lies assembling behind his eyes, looking for a way out. "Sarah, it was a mistake. It didn't mean anything." I shook my head. It meant everything. He tried to explain, but every word just made the silence louder. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just picked up the gold ribbon from the table and handed it to him. "Keep it," I said. "Maybe you'll need it when you're packing." For the first time, I saw something break in him. Not guilt, not anger, but fear. He realized I wasn't bluffing. And in that moment, I realized I wasn't either. That night, he slept in the guest room. In the morning, I drove Ella to school, then stopped by the bank to transfer our remaining funds into a separate account under my name. I wasn't going to let him take anything else. Not my peace, not my child's security, not my self-respect. That evening, I called my mother. She lived 3 towns away, always gentle, always cautious. "Are you sure you want to do this?" she asked. I hesitated. I don't want to destroy his life. I just don't want to keep pretending. "Then stop pretending, sweetheart," she said softly. "Tell the truth. You owe that to yourself." I hung up and looked around the house. Every wall, every photo frame, every memory built on trust that no longer existed. And I knew it was time. The next morning, the house felt quiet in a way that wasn't peaceful. Not the soft silence of a home waking up, but the kind that follows an earthquake when dust still hangs in the air and you don't yet know what's left standing. Mark was already gone by the time I came downstairs. His coffee mug sat on the counter, half full, cold. A note beside it read, "We'll talk tonight. Don't do anything rash. I love you." Love. That word again, so light on paper, so heavy in its absence. I spent the day packing little things. Not everything, just enough to start over if I had to. A few of Ella's favorite books, my grandmother's pendants, the old photographs that still made me smile. By noon, Julia arrived holding a brown envelope. "You ready?" I nodded, though my hands trembled. "Is that?" She handed it to me. "Everything. Bank transfers, emails, even the messages. You're covered if you decide to file." I took a deep breath. I don't want to humiliate him. I just need him to know I'm not the fool he built his peace on. Julia's expression softened. "Then make him see it your way." That evening when Mark came home, he looked like a man walking into a courtroom. His eyes darted around the room, at the packed boxes, at me standing by the window, calm but distant. "Sarah," he began, his voice low. "Please don't do this here. Not in front of Ella." She's at my mother's, I said quietly. This is between us. He exhaled, rubbing his face. Okay, fine. You want the truth? I messed up. I was weak. I was stupid. But it's over. Lydia doesn't mean anything to me anymore. Then why was the trip still booked? I asked evenly. He froze. I stepped closer. You wanted to take her to the Maldives, the same resort you once promised me for our 10th anniversary. You wired money to her account, money from our savings, and you stood in front of me, handing me coffee like nothing happened. His voice broke. I panicked, Sarah. When you found out, I thought, if I could make it disappear. Silence stretched between us, long and sharp. The clock ticked. The house creaked. Then he whispered, So what now? You want to leave me? I didn't answer immediately. I turned toward the table, picked up the gift box from last night, the gold ribbon still folded neatly beside it. You asked me that before, and I told you I think about it. Well, I did. I opened the box again and handed him the printed itinerary. You're still going on that trip, just not with her. His brow furrowed. What do you mean? I changed the passenger name. It's Ella's now. You'll take her instead. 1 week, father and daughter. No distractions, no lies. He stared at me, bewildered. You're serious? Yes, I said. Because if there's one person who still believes you're good, it's her. Don't ruin that too. He ran a hand through his hair. You're sending me away with her? Like some punishment? I smiled faintly. No, Mark. It's not punishment. It's grace. It's the last gift I have left to give you. He looked at me then, really looked, as if seeing me for the first time in years. The woman who'd stood beside him through layoffs and rent notices. The woman who'd smiled when he'd broken. The woman he thought would never walk away. And maybe, just maybe, he realized this was the moment I stopped being that woman. He left the next morning with Ella. She was all excitement, clutching her little backpack and chattering about beaches and coconuts. I hugged her tightly at the door, breathing in the scent of her shampoo, memorizing it. Be good, okay? She nodded. Daddy said we'll build sandcastles. I smiled. Then build the biggest one you can. As the car pulled away, Mark met my eyes in the rearview mirror. For a second, he looked like he wanted to say something. But he didn't. The house was empty again, but this time the silence was clean. Not heavy, not haunted, just quiet. I spent the first day alone rearranging things, moving his clothes out of our bedroom, folding my piece into drawers where chaos used to live. Then I sat by the window with a cup of tea, watching sunlight crawl across the walls. I didn't cry. Not because I wasn't sad, but because I'd already done my morning long before he knew it. By the fourth day, he called. Sarah? His voice cracked over the line, ocean wind whistling in the background. She's having the time of her life. You were right. I forgot what it's like to just be her dad. I smiled faintly. That's good. He hesitated. I've been thinking about everything, about us. I don't deserve another chance, but if you... Mark, I interrupted gently. Don't say what you think I want to hear. Say what you mean. There was silence for a few seconds. Then he whispered, I mean, I broke something that was whole, and I don't know if it can ever be put back together. I swallowed hard. Neither do I. After the call, I looked at the empty room, the photos on the wall, the one of our wedding, the first ultrasound, the birthday candles, and I realized something simple, something painful. Forgiveness isn't always a reunion. Sometimes it's just releasing someone from the version of them you once loved. When they came back a week later, Ella ran into my arms, sun-kissed and giggling. Mommy, Daddy and I saw dolphins. He let me drive the boat. Well, almost. I laughed, holding her tight. Sounds like a great adventure. Mark stood behind her, suitcase in hand, looking unsure. He started to speak, but I raised a hand. Not now. Go and pack. Ella's tired. He nodded and went upstairs. Later that night, after Ella slept, he found me on the porch. I didn't expect you to let me back in, he said quietly. I didn't say you were back, I replied. I said you could come home. For her. He nodded slowly. And for us? I looked up at the night sky, stars faint against the city lights. For now, I said, there's no us. Just two people trying to be better for someone who still believes we can be. He took that in, then softly, thank you. I didn't answer. Sometimes silence is the only closure you get. Weeks passed. Life fell into rhythm, calmer, slower, honest. He started therapy. I went back to work. Ella laughed more. And though the air between Mark and me still carried the ghost of what we lost, it also carried something new. Truth. One evening, as I tucked Ella into bed, she asked, Mommy, are you and Daddy happy now? I smiled. We're learning to be. She grinned sleepily. Then maybe the trip worked? I kissed her forehead. Maybe it did. Outside her room, Mark was standing in the hallway, listening. Our eyes met. He didn't say a word, just nodded. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel broken. I just felt free. A year passes quietly when you stop counting the days in pain. Spring returned, soft, unhurried, the kind that makes everything smell like second chances. The magnolias bloomed again outside our porch, pale pink against the gray fence Mark never got around to painting. He still lived in the house, though in the guest room now. We had found a rhythm that wasn't marriage, but wasn't distance either. A sort of truce, not born of love, but of shared responsibility. And maybe deep down, of habit. I'd wake early to the sound of the kettle whistling, his way of saying good morning without words. We spoke in small kindnesses now. He'd fix the leaky faucet. I'd save him a portion of dinner. It wasn't reconciliation, it was survival. Some evenings after Ella went to bed, we'd sit on the porch, two quiet people watching the world move on. He'd ask about work, I'd ask about therapy. And every so often, when our hands brushed reaching for the same mug, I'd feel that faint, aching echo of what used to be, then remember why it couldn't be again. One night in late April, he came home later than usual. I was folding laundry when I heard the door creak open. "Sorry," he murmured. "Traffic was bad." His voice still carried that careful tone, cautious, respectful, afraid of stepping wrong. I looked up. "Dinner's in the fridge." He nodded, but didn't move. "Actually, I wanted to talk." He stood there for a moment, hands deep in his pockets, then slowly pulled out an envelope. My heart stopped. Not again, I thought. Not another sorry. But when he handed it to me, his eyes weren't pleading. They were calm. He said, "It's for you." Not an apology, a release. Inside was a check. Not from our joint account this time, but from his personal savings. I frowned. "What is this?" He smiled faintly. "Half the house, my share. You can buy me out or sell it. I don't want it anymore. I think it's time you have something that's completely yours." I blinked, taken aback. "Mark, this isn't necessary." "It is," he said softly, "because you were the one who kept it standing. You deserve to decide what happens to it now." That night, after he went upstairs, I sat at the dining table staring at the check under the warm yellow light. There was no anger this time, no heartbreak, just quiet gratitude, tinged with something almost like peace. He was right. The house had become more than walls and furniture. It was proof that even after destruction, something steady could still exist. And yet, something inside me whispered, maybe it's time to let go. A month later, I listed the house for sale. When I told Mark, he didn't protest. He only nodded, his face unreadable. "I'll help with the move," he said simply. Ella took it better than I expected. "Can we have a room with bigger windows?" she asked excitedly. I smiled. "We can have anything we want now, sweetheart." The day we packed the last box, the air smelled like rain. Mark stood in the empty living room, looking around slowly, at the spot where we'd hung our first Christmas garland, the wall with faint pencil marks measuring Ella's height over the years. "It's strange," he said quietly. "You live in a place so long, you think it's part of you. Then one day, it's just space." I nodded. Maybe that's what healing is too. He smiled sadly. "I'm glad you're doing this. You always had more courage than I did." I looked at him for a long time, then said, "Courage isn't not being afraid, Mark. It's being afraid and doing it anyway." The movers came. The door shut behind us, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was losing something. I felt like I was reclaiming it. The new apartment was smaller, brighter. It had a balcony that caught the morning sun just right, golden and forgiving. Ella's laughter filled it easily, echoing off the walls like music. Every night, we'd sit together on the couch, eating takeout and watching the city lights flicker outside. Sometimes Mark would call, checking in on Ella. His voice carried a tenderness now, quieter, humbler. They talked about school, art projects, her favorite songs. I listened from across the room, realizing he was learning how to love her the way he should have loved all along, with presence, not promises. One afternoon, months later, I ran into him at a cafe. He was sitting by the window, reading, a cup of coffee steaming beside him. He looked up and smiled, not the awkward, guilty smile I'd grown used to, but something genuine. "Hey," he said, "you look happy." "I am," I replied. We talked for a few minutes about Ella, his job, my new place. The conversation flowed easily, no ghosts hovering between us. Then he said something that stayed with me. "You know, I used to think love was about holding on, but maybe it's really about knowing when to let go." I smiled softly. "Took you long enough to learn that." He chuckled. "Guess I had a good teacher." We said goodbye with no promises to call, no awkward pauses, just two people who had finally learned to coexist with the truth. That night, after putting Ella to bed, I stood by the balcony, watching the city breathe. I thought about everything, the betrayal, the lies, the nights I cried into my pillow, wondering if I'd ever feel whole again. And now, here I was, whole. Not because someone fixed me, but because I stopped waiting to be fixed. The pain hadn't disappeared, it had simply softened, turned into something almost tender, a scar that reminded me I'd survived. Sometimes I still find one of his old shirts mixed in with the laundry, or I catch Ella humming the song he used to sing while cooking pancakes on Sunday mornings. And instead of anger, I feel gratitude, because those memories, even the painful ones, are proof that I lived fully, loved deeply, and learned when to walk away with grace. Last week, Ella brought home a drawing from school. It was a picture of our family, me, her, and her dad. We were standing apart but smiling. When I asked her about it, she said, "We're still a family, Mommy, just different shapes." I looked at her and realized how right she was. Family isn't about who stays under one roof. It's about who still shows up with love even when the walls are gone. So if you ask me now whether I regret forgiving him that first night, no, because forgiveness wasn't for him. It was for me. It was my way of saying, you can't steal my peace twice.